Hey, what's up guys? It's Andrew Santowski giving you another UFC Fight Night prediction video. This time, UFC Fight Night, Tybura versus Spivac 2. It goes down this coming Saturday, August 10th, 2024. Prelims begin at 4, going down from the Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. So let's get into it, guys. Prelim fights up first. Stephanie Luciano against Talita Elankar. This goes down at strawweight. Luciano on a 2-fight win streak. Hasn't fought in the UFC since her Dana White Contender Series fight, and it was a draw with Elankar. So this is a rematch, guys. I'm gonna side with Luciano here, but again, it's not gonna surprise me if Elankar pulls this off. Jarno Aarons against Youssef Zalal. What a banger for a fight, man. I'm just really surprised this is on the prelims. Aarons is coming off a win over Stephen Nagin, and he was the underdog in that fight, but he looked really good in that fight. Lost to Singwoo Choi before that, lost to Gomis. And I think, hey, man, he might really give Zalal a hard time here. Zalal is coming off a nice win over Billy Q. Very good win there in his return to the UFC. So I don't know, this is an interesting fight, but I'm just not as down on Aarons as a lot of people. Looking at the odds for this fight, we have Zalal minus 350, comeback on Aarons plus 285. I'm going to side with Zalal here, but again, I'm looking forward to seeing this fight. Carl Williams against Jahanta Diaz. Right now, Carl Williams sitting at a minus 205 favorite, Jahanta Diaz plus 175. And I'm taking my first dog in the night in Jahanta Diaz, man. This guy is, I believe he's a world-class kickboxer, man. Looked really good beating up Austin Lane. And Austin Lane is a good striker. I mean, he's lost some lust, I guess, right now in the UFC, but I was kind of high on him when he came into the UFC. Nice knockout win there. And now he's going up against Carl Williams, man, who's he's almost like a pure wrestler, man. And the guy, I don't think he's lost yet in the UFC, man. So credit to him. He beat Justin Taffa, beat Chase Sherman, Lucas Bareski, beat Jimmy Lawson on the Contender Series. So, I mean, good props to Carl. But I'm going to go with Jahanta Diaz here, catching him and knocking him out. Carol Rosa against Pannie Kianzad. I'm going to side with Kianzad here. But again, this is just kind of like two middle of the pack female bantamweights, man. Just don't really have a strong lean in this fight. Danny Barlow against Nikolai Vorenikov. And Nikolai is making his UFC debut. He fought April 27, 24 in the UFL. He's a finisher, man. Beat Ashley Reese. Beat Anthony Ivy, who's starting to rack up some wins on his record now. Lost to Michael Morales on the Contender Series back in 2021. So, okay, he's getting his UFC shot now, which is good. Danny Barlow, he's looked very impressive, man. Knocked out Josh Quinlan. That was brutal, man. That was brutal how he just knocked out Quinlan, and I think the UFC just released Quinlan. Beat Raheem Forrest on the Contender Series last September. So I'm high on Barlow, man. He's got that length and that power at that division at welterweight. So I'm going to side with Barlow here. Charlo Grigoriou against Toshiomo Kozama. Kozama, he's on a 2-fight losing streak. Got knocked out by Garen Armfield and lost to Nakamura before that. So UFC is probably going to cut this guy if he loses here. He's going up against Grigoriou, who did not look good in his UFC debut. Lost to Chad Ellinger, and Chad Ellinger just looked really fast in that fight, man. Grigoriou, he looked heavily muscled. He was throwing with pure power. But and Ellinger I think he just outvolumed him the whole fight, man. And Grigoriou kind of gassed. But I'm going to side with Grigoriou here to pick up the win. Ellen Nascimento against Jafal Filo. Great fight at men's flyweight here. And I'm going to side with Nascimento. He's on a 2-fight winning streak. Has not fought in a while. Beat Carlos Hernandez, Jake Hadley. We just seen Jake Hadley step up to 145 and 135 and pick up a win. at UFC 304. Jafal, he almost beat Mohamed Mokayev, but he came up just short. He's on a 2-fight winning streak over Ode Osborne and Daniel Perez. 2 good wins. Perez had him hurt, but he survived and got Perez out of there. So I'm going to side with Nascimento here, man. But again, I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out. Yana Santos against Chelsea Chandler. Chandler's probably going to be the stronger opponent, but I mean, she's like a pure grappler here, man. Santos, she's on a 3-fight losing streak. Hasn't fought in over a year. I'm going to side with Santos here, man. I just think she just has a little more in the tank, a little more well-rounded than Chandler, but it's not going to surprise me. Yana Santos currently is a -145, so I am going to pick Santos here to pick up the win. Chepe Mariscal against Damon Jackson. Mariscal, he's looked very impressive in the UFC, man. This guy's a finisher. He's coming off a win over Morgan Charrier, Jack Jenkins, Trevor Peake. This guy's a good fighter, man. And I think they're kind of feeding Damon Jackson to him here. Damon Jackson, obviously known for his grappling. Picked up a nice win over Alexander Hernandez in his last fight. Lost to Billy Q and Danny Gay before that. But was on a nice, like, four-fight winning streak prior to that. So, I mean, he fought Tybura. He's fought a few different dudes, but I'm gonna side with Mariscal here. Co-main event, Javid Basharat against Chris Gutierrez. Both guys coming off losses. Gutierrez coming off that main event loss to Yadong Song in December. Basharat coming off that loss to Elamine Zahabi, Faraz's brother. And I'm going to side with the underdog and Gutierrez here again. It's not going to surprise me what happens in this fight. But, I mean, Gutierrez, he's had a lot of fights in the UFC. Got a great calf-kicking game. Basharat, he might throw more volume. He's currently the -240 favorite. So I'm going to side with the dog and Gutierrez here to pick up the win. Marcin Tybura against Sergey Spivac. This is their second fight. Tybura beat Spivac, I want to say in, 2020? Let's take a look. Yep, 2020. So this is a rematch from 4.5 years ago. So Tybura, he's the older fighter by 9 years. He's 38 years old. Spivac's 29. Tybura's coming off a nice win over Tai Tuivasa in a fight that closed this pick'em in a main event. I did not have a pick there. I did not have a bet on that fight, but he survived. I want to say an early start from Tuivasa, took him down and got the choke, and it was just before, within the last minute of the first round ending, that he got that. And then he got destroyed by Tom Aspinall. Before that, wins over Blagoy Ivanov and Alexander Romanov prior to Aspinall, the Aspinall loss. Spivac, he hasn't fought since getting absolutely destroyed against Cyril Gane in that UFC Paris event last September. That was just brutal. I don't think Spivac got off any offense in that fight. He got decimated. Nice win over Derek Lewis prior to that. Sakai, Hardy, 2 guys that are no longer with the UFC. He got finished by Aspinall as well. And again, guys, I think I'm going to side with Aspinall here. And the main reason is he's a dog. We're looking at the current odds right now. He's a plus 120 dog. So I think the value is clearly on Tybura here. Tybura has gone 5 rounds before. Spivac has not. Seems like Spivac likes to rush a lot of his fights. So maybe Spivac takes the first round here and Tybura just kind of takes over. Or, we see a back and forth fight here. I don't think necessarily any of them get the other out of there. But who knows? But I'm going to just side with Marcin Tybura here just because he's the dog. Holds a win over him. He's got experience in 5-round fights. The biggest concern is, I would say, he's 9 years older. So that is a concern. And I'm sure Spivac and Tybura have both improved since their first fight. And probably more Spivac than Tybura. But I'm going to side with Tybura here just because he's the dog. So again, guys, my picks: Tybura, Gutierrez, Mariscal, Santos, Nascimento, Grigoriou, Barlow, Kianzad. Diniz, Zalal, and Luciano.